Welcome to the Faith Talks Wood podcast. I'm Will from Flat Woodworks.
And I'm Tom from Mountain Valley Maker.
Yeah, we're a podcast that talks about everything from Jesus to joinery and a little bit of everything in between. Tom, the word of the day or the word of the week is snow. As I was telling you before we hit record, I live about 40 minutes south of Erie, Pennsylvania, and Erie is getting record snow. And I work in Erie. That's where my office is at. But I've been working from home because from Friday till today, almost 70 inches of snow. So we record today's Tuesday. Usually we record on Mondays, but it's been insane. They can't keep up with it, and it's just made a mess up there. And so we got about 10 inches here. So I got home from work, ate dinner, and then hopped on the tractor and cleared out the driveway. So I need to get a back blade, but I've gotten pretty good with the bucket that I can move snow around pretty easily. My kids were out the front window. We have a big bay window in the front, and they were out there watching me because I had the four ways on the tractor because it's dark here, and I was having to go out on the road to turn around. We have a U-shaped driveway. It's like a horseshoe, and so I come in. And instead of pushing the snow out, I could push it into my neighbor's field, but I'll come in and then push it up the driveway and make big piles, and they'll probably play in it. I'm sure my wife will have them outside playing in the snow. But it's just been a lot of snow. I think it dropped. My wife, I didn't work from home today. I went up in the office, and probably should have stayed home. It's pretty rough up there, but I think from 9. She got home at 9 from dropping Eli off at school. And from 9 until when she left at 10:30, 5 inches of snow fell.
Wow.
So, yeah. And it just kept snowing, whiteout condition all day long. And so it's been a while. Like I said, I grew up with that, coming from, we're in northwestern Pennsylvania. It's the snow belt is what it's called because of the lake effect snow off of Lake Erie. It's nothing growing up to, wake up to 10, 12, 14 inches of snow and go to bed with nothing. But I guess it goes in cycles. It hasn't been as bad over the last few years. The last really bad one, aside from this week, was 2017. My wife worked in Erie. We lived in the town we're from, about 40, 45 minutes south. And over Christmas of 2017, Erie, Pennsylvania got 5 foot of snow in the matter of about 3.5, 4 days. And it was just insane. And my wife had to work. And so we had an all-wheel drive. We have a Mitsubishi Outlander, and the thing is a tank. Lock it in 4-wheel and that thing will go anywhere. And she had to go to work, but it was that week that we decided that I think it's time for us to move south. And 4 months later, we were in Nashville, Tennessee. So not even 4 months. Yeah, it was pretty quick. But yeah, man. So a lot of snow. It was good though to get the tractor out and get some use out of it. I've just been so busy with work, with audits, and we have state exam coming up and just so much stuff, but yeah, good stuff. How have you been?
I've been busy with work, man. It's been this month has been a very good blessing. I have had job after job after job, so it's been busy. But yeah, can't complain.
Now, is that because of year end, people are trying to get things in before the winter? Is that common for you to be in the fall, into the winter, be busy?
No, typically, I usually slow down around the middle of November and through the middle of February, and then things start to gradually pick up. And by the middle of March, back busy all the way through, really kind of middle of March all the way through the middle of October is typically my crazy busy season. But October was insanely slow, unusual. And I really think it was a lot of businesses were kind of holding on to the money, waiting to see what happened with the election. and then, it's like the day after the election, stock market went up, and it's like everybody started placing orders. It's like, okay, things are going to be okay. And, like, so, but I don't want to talk about politics tonight, but I am thankful to have work, and it's been a good month for me. So praise God, because my daughter is graduating college next week, man.
Whoa.
I know, dude. It's hard to believe.
Crazy.
But
has she gotten an internship or anything, or like
she just
finished?
She
gonna go.
She already finished.
Okay.
She finished her last day of her internship yesterday, and then she already has been accepted into the Doctor of Physical Therapy program starting next August. So she'll graduate next Friday from her bachelor's degree, and then she'll have a semester off. And she'll just work during that and save money because once she starts the PT program, she won't be able to work for 3 years. It's a full-time job. So
yeah,
but she enjoyed it.
Hey.
She did her internship at the hospital at the physical therapy department there, and she really enjoyed it. So.
Well, take this semester she's off and get some snowboarding in.
Oh, we intend to, fully intend to. In fact, this Saturday and Sunday, I've got to do my instructor training up there because I'm going to be teaching snowboard lessons this winter. So, we will.
That's awesome.
And we had some good snow. They had another big snow up on top of the mountain. We only got a little down here, but up there, they got another couple feet. So our slopes look fantastic to be so early in the season. So.
Yeah. Now, I have a question about snowboarding stuff. Not stuff. So, are you like your snowboarding jacket that you wear when you snowboard? Is it Columbia brand? Like, what do you go to? What's your go to?
Yeah. I used to. Like my snowboard pants are North Face, but I don't have a brand preference. I buy kind of what I get on a good deal, whatever's on sale. And I've literally the pants that I'm wearing now, I've had for 7-8 years. I mean, a long time. I wear them out. I'm a cheapskate. My jacket is just a knockoff brand that I wore for years. Because in the screen print embroidery business, I had access to, unbranded merchandise so that we could then brand it. And I just buy the no knockoff stuff. It works perfectly fine. It might not be as good as the top brands, but I'm cheap. It works, keeps me dry and warm.
Well, it's funny. 3 years ago, two and a half. Yeah, I guess it was 3 years ago now. 2 years. I don't remember what it was. Anyways, when we lived in Tennessee, a big cold front come through, and we were like down in the negatives in Tennessee, which is unheard of. Well, we moved to Tennessee, and I didn't have any heavy jackets because it may get down in the 30s, but for me coming from the north, 30 degrees is, I'll wear a hoodie or a light jacket. And so it got really cold. Like it was just for like 3 or 4 days straight, just bitter cold. And I didn't have a warm jacket. And so one day on my lunch at work, I went down to Walmart and they had these like snowboarding style jackets. It's like a Swiss Tech or something. Bought at Walmart. Dude, that thing is one of the warmest jackets I've ever owned. I could be outside. I've got, I don't have snow pants, but I have like overall bibs that have like the waterproof knees in them and stuff. It's for working out on the farm and whatnot. But I'll put those on, jeans and those on, and then I'll put a hoodie on and then that Walmart brand jacket. And I tell you what, I stay warm as anything.
Yep.
But, I do. Don't judge me. I don't know if I have I like jackets, like having nice jackets. And so I've got a few, like I've got my Carhartt that I'll work outside in that's I can beat up and, whatever. And then I've got, the one I wear to work every day. It's Ariat, Ariat boots.
Yep.
It's an Ariat branded coat. It's a really nice, really, really warm coat. And then I've got that that snowboarding style jacket that we can go outside and I can, be out there and stuff. But yeah, so I was just curious because I remember back in the day, like in high school, I had probably throughout middle school and high school, probably 6-7 years, I had a Columbia jacket. And it was one of the ones where the fleece liner could come out of it. And then there was the shell and then the fleece. And man, that thing was the best jacket ever. And I think it finally ripped or tore or something like that. But my wife has one. I bought it for Christmas a few years ago. It's a Columbia brand, but it's got like, I call it tin foil on the inside. It's like this reflective stuff.
Yeah, that heat deflection. It reflects your body heat back on itself sometimes or somehow.
She claims. Now, my wife is one of those like, she thinks about doing stuff and she sweats like she's just a warm-blooded person. She claims, and it's a thin little jacket. It's meant for being a winter jacket, but it's thin. It is made nothing. But she says that thing makes her sweat even when it's 20 degrees outside because of that reflector technology stuff, I guess. I don't know. Strange. Yeah. Faith talks jackets. That's what we are. So, before we get into talking a little bit about the word, I just want to say thank you to all the patron supporters. You guys are awesome. You guys are a huge blessing to us. And if you want to be a patron supporter, you can do so at patreon.com/Faith Talks Wood. If you go over there, there's all kinds of stuff and whatnot, but appreciate everybody that's over there. 5-star review on Apple. Appreciate everybody who gives us that 5-star review. Helps the podcast be found. And if you are in the market for anything sanding related, sandpaper, sanding systems, go over to surfprep.com and then use code FAITH and you will get 10% off. And we get a little kickback, helps the podcast. You get a discount. And Surf Prep, we wouldn't be sponsoring with Surf Prep or be partnering with Surf Prep if they weren't a solid company. I don't remember what episode it was, but you go back, Skyler, the founder of Surf Prep, we interview him. Awesome guy, such a strong testimony. God is using him in his business, and we have partnered with them here at the podcast. So thank you to Surf Prep. Get over to surfprep.com, get you some sand and stuff. And with that, this week is my hold on. Okay, before we get into it, so we do a Google Meet call to the podcast. We don't record that. We just record the audio, but it's nice to see each other's handsome faces as we're recording. Tom just lifted up his Surf Prep. So did you get the system in then?
Yeah, it came in yesterday.
Yeah. You use it?
No, it literally came in. I've been working on building some stairs in my shop. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I'm excired. I got the
now, did you just get the 4x3 or did you get the extractor or you're going to use your Festool?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do eventually, because I just really want to support Surf Prep because I like what they stand for. And there's nothing wrong with my my dust extractor. I have Festool, but I'm going to see if I could. I don't know how much I could get out of selling it used, but if down the road, I think I would like to sell it. And then the same thing, I have a Festool 6-inch sander that works fantastic. I like it, but I really want the Surf Prep one. So down the road, I'm going to see if I could save up and then sell those and switch over. But I've been wanting this 3x4 for so long, dude. You just don't know.
Yeah, I want one too.
So I'm excited. I got a couple projects for Christmas. So I have not been on Instagram in a while, but I want to support them, and so I'll be making me some sanding reels here in the next couple
Absolutely.
weeks and post them. But yeah, I was like a kid in a candy factory when that box got delivered yesterday. I was like, oh man, Christmas came early. So, but yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm excited. So
Now, on the 3x4, did they come out with the Gen 2? Is that what you got?
No,
Or is that just the bigger, the round, the
yeah. So just right now, just the Gen 2 of the, I think both the 5-inch and 6-inch have out in the Gen 2, if I'm correct. And I asked Hannah about that, but she said it would probably be fall of next year when the Gen 2 of the 3x4. If she had told me it's going to be 2 months, I'd have been patient and waited.
right.
But
Wait a year. Yeah.
like, man, I don't want to wait a year. And so I figure I just go ahead. I mean, I already used the Gen 1 and I liked it. So I'm like, I'll probably next year be like, want another one.
Right. But the Gen 1 is tried and true. I mean, all their stuff is, but like that 3x4 sander is used by so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reason I want one is my wife bought, there's two reasons. My wife bought at a thrift store, a little end table, and it's all spindled and it needs sanded down.
I got
and it needs,
2 chairs.
But
I've been waiting on refinishing. I got from my father-in-law, and you'll see me refinishing them with this. So,
yeah. Well, and the other one is just this weekend, Thanksgiving, my father-in-law gave us a rocking chair that was given to him by his grandfather when he was a kid. It's a little rocking chair for kids.
Yep.
And it's this old rocking chair, and it just needs refinished. It needs some Willie's Wood Honey is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying this. It's all spindle. It's like a Maloof style.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying that by hand.
That is the beauty.
3x4 with
if you with their foam pads, because they've got 3 different thicknesses, and I got some of all of them, but I got all the grits in the 1/2 inch, which is the real squishy ones, which will allow you to really form around those complex curves. And saying every time I'm watching people, I'm just like, man, I need that tool so bad, but it's not cheap. Good stuff costs, and so I had to save up for a while. And honestly, like if my daughter wasn't having next semester off, I wouldn't have been able to order it right now. But this will be the first time I've not had to make a tuition payment in January, and so I was like, I want to treat myself to something, and I've been dreaming about this thing for over a year. So. Yeah, man, I'm excited.
I'm excited to hear.
I got some
excited to hear how you like it.
Red, white, and blue in the shop, and I am going to put it to good use. So
awesome. Very good. Well, this week, we've had a lot of guests on the podcast in the last month or so. And so we've gotten a little bit out of rotation of, doing our, back to our roots of doing some Bible devotions. And I just finished reading through the book of Hebrews. Hebrews, man, it's a deep book. And it's funny because, like, if you read into the history of Hebrews, or like the background, people kind of question the author. It doesn't say, I, Paul, like most of his letters do. But when I read it, I see Paul in this. I see just the way it is worded, the way, he talks. And at the end, how he talks about going to be with Timothy and stuff, and kind of that normal, like when he's finishing out a book, or a letter. But anyways, and so I was reading through, and something, it just stuck with me, was Hebrews 13, which is the last chapter of Hebrews, verse 9. Super simple. I'm going to have some thoughts on it. Nothing too much. But Hebrews 13:9. Well, if we start at 8, right, it says, Jesus Christ, I'm reading out of the NLT, so New Living Translation, if anybody is wondering. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So do not be attracted by strange new ideas. Your strength comes from God's grace, not from rules about food, which don't help those who follow them. So what's going on here is that so the Hebrew Christians, fairly new church, who he's writing to now is probably second generation Christians within the church, and they're most likely going through some persecution, both socially and physically. And so what's happening is a lot of them are falling back to Judaism, falling back to the ways of the Jewish customs, and so a lot of that was like you couldn't eat certain foods, and you had to do certain things, and there was like all of these Old Testament, all of this like laws, these laws that you had to follow, and some of them were falling back on it because it was easier to fall back on what's a custom and what you were brought up on, and so a lot of these new Christians were kind of having a hard time, and falling back on some of this old stuff. Some other translations worded a little bit differently. So he says, so do not be attracted to strange new ideas. And so what I wanted to talk about was there's so much with social media, with these, I call them Instagram pastors or TikTok pastors or whatever you want to call it. And they post these snippets, little bits from their sermon and some thought-provoking thing. Some of them are fine, but my fear is there's a lot of bad doctrine and theology out there. There's a lot of teachers that are misleading. And there's even some faiths that, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to point anybody out, but like Catholicism is very do this, and this, and you will be in a good place. And unfortunately, as I read scripture, I don't see that. And as I think Paul wrote Hebrews, he's saying, don't fall back to these things that are tradition, right? Stick with the truth in which you were taught when you came to faith. And we're in this weird season where we just elected a new president, be inaugurated in January. There's a lot of weird stuff happening politically. Whether or not you think there's a lot of weird stuff happening politically right now. And the churches are in this weird place where they don't want to talk about the politics, and they don't want to talk about the things that are happening in that sense, because some feel it's not the appropriate place. I would argue that I believe that the church, the pulpit, is the place where sound politics should come through your theology, through reading the word and through digging into scripture. And so when you preach, you come across things in scripture that is political, and you have to talk about them. And so my warning is, or my fear is, and my hope is really that you don't start falling back on these old customs and old traditions and the stuff that looks fancy or seems appealing. There's a lot of stuff out there that is dangerous, and a lot of things within quote unquote Christianity that are really, really dangerous if you're not careful. So the biggest thing you can do is to know scripture. If you know the Bible, you can discern what's true and what's not. And when you're in the word and you have the Spirit of God living within you, you're able to discern all this stuff. And so as I just finished through Hebrews the other day, and I saw that and just kind of got me thinking about it and about just all of the different things, even myself over the years, I've caught myself listening to a certain pastor or reading a book or seeing something and getting drawn into it, and then shaken out of it and realizing, oh, what are you doing? Well, that's not solid. You got to, watch yourself. There's dangers in that theology or whatnot. But yeah, so stick to the truth of Christ, stick to the reality of who he is, and that he is one with God and the Holy Spirit. And stay away from the old traditions and the old, this fancy talk, if you will. What do you think? Any thoughts on that, Tom?
Yeah, ironically, just finished Hebrews a couple weeks ago myself, and I love Hebrews and James are two of my favorite books in the Bible. But I on down in chapter 13 there, verse 14, it says, "For this world is not our permanent home. We are looking forward to a home yet to come. Therefore, let us offer through Jesus a continual sacrifice of praise to God, proclaiming our allegiance to his name. And don't forget to do good and to share with those in need. These are the sacrifices that please God." And so I think no matter what this craziness going on in this world is, while I do agree with you, the pulpit is where we should be talking about the political landscape and the values. I think if we did more, the values in America would be better. But America is not our home. This earth is not our home. This is just a temporary place that we're at. Our permanent home's going to be in heaven. And so got to keep our eyes on that and keep praising the Lord and doing good in his name.
Amen. And I wanted to read Hebrews if they were dealing with a similar thing that when you read Galatians, they were dealing with Judaizers, right? Group of people that were coming in and saying you have to do all this. You have to keep doing the Jewish customs in order to have salvation. And unfortunately, there's that whole, people believe that, it's your works that get you to heaven. There's a lot of that within certain sects of Christianity. And I think we need to be careful. And to your point, this is not our home. We are looking forward to a new home, and boy, I can't wait for that. I don't know about you.
Okay. Just think, there will be no elections in heaven. Oh,
right.
Man, how awesome. There'll be no cancer. There'll be no traffic jams. I could go on and on of all the things there won't be. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait.
Well, the thing about it is that it will be, none of that will matter anyways, because we'll be in awe of who God is, and we will be worshiping him, and it will be a glorious thing, right? It won't be this world. What we know is this world will not be.
Well, the thing about,
and so,
you know how like when you're in go to men's group and you're in your men's group and you're surrounded by people that believe the same exact thing, think the same way that you do. That's in heaven. Every single person is going to believe what we do.
Right. Yep.
And so there's
there's no denying it at that point.
Yeah. There's not going to be any arguing over, and like I'm reading Peter right now. I was reading in 2 Peter this morning. It talks about all the people are going to be false prophets and, trying to be deceptive and all, but there's not going to be any of that. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Well, I'll end with this as we're talking about that. Colossians, man, one of my favorite passages, the supremacy of Christ, right? Colossians 1 verses 15 through 20. I'm just going to go ahead and read it because I think it's powerful. Christ is the visible image of the invisible God. He existed before anything was created and is supreme over all creation. For through him, God created everything in heavenly realms and on the earth. He made the things we can see and the things we cannot see, such as thrones, kingdoms, rulers, and authorities in the unseen world. Everything was created through him and for him, and he existed before anything else. And he holds all creation together. Christ is also the head of the church, which is his body. He is the beginning, supreme over all who rise from the dead. So he is the first in everything. For God in all his fullness was pleased to live in Christ, and through him God reconciled everything to himself. He made peace with everything in heaven and on earth by means of Christ's blood on the cross. That's all you need to know, folks.
I literally, when I read that a few weeks ago, had highlighted that. So he is first in everything. We just have to remember that. And if we put him first in everything in our life, we get that peace.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's when we start letting these other things, these stresses and these other things come in, that our focus moves from him, right? The story of Peter, that's Peter and Jesus on the water, walking on the water. He says, "Come out to me." And when Peter doesn't focus on Christ and focuses on all the commotion of the waves around him, he starts sinking. Mm-hmm. But when he focuses on Christ raises him up and he is able to walk out to him. And so I think, there's something to be said there when all of the stuff is happening and all the stresses, money, and, all the political things and all the stuff that's happening. It's a ploy from the enemy to get our focus off of Christ. I fully believe that. And when we can focus on all the other stuff, well, then now we're not focusing on Christ, and now we're not a threat to the enemy because we're letting these other things come in. And so, I hope and pray that all of you listening can realize that we need to keep our focus on Christ. And if you have questions about that or wondering what that looks like, feel free to reach out to us. That's, a passion of Tom and ours. Tom and mine is to help you guys grow closer to Christ. And through this technology of audio podcasting, we hope and pray that it is something that you can feel encouraged by. So, yeah, man, good stuff. That went a little bit different direction than I thought it was going to go, and love it. And in Colossians, man, he is before all things. Everything is created by him and for him.
Yep.
Exciting.
It is, man, dude. I don't know. The more I read the word, the more I want to read the word. And every time I read through it, this is my 6th time of reading the entire Bible through in a year. Now, I've actually, 1 year I did only the New Testament. Another year I did only the Old Testament. So technically this would be my 7th time, I think, going all the way through it. But every time I read it, dude, I see stuff and I'm like, I don't remember that being there last time. Like, it's like a whole new book. And I don't know. I think it really is because, that passage where it talks about, comparing us to babies on milk. And then eventually we have to be weaned off. Yeah, I kind of feel
that's James, right?
And I kind of feel like, the first time you read through it, you get.
Or is that that's Hebrews? No, that's James.
I can't remember. Sorry. I'd have to look it up. But, the first time you read through it, you pick up little parts and it was what you needed for that time. Well, then the next time you kind of go a little deeper and a little deeper. And, as you mature and have a greater understanding, like I just get in all like my pastor Will, and there's a guy in my men's group. I swear, babe, I think he can pull out any verse in the Bible. This dude, you'd be having a conversation and he just automatically said he'll flip open and take you right to the passage. It's like, how do you remember where everything is in the Bible? He's like, I've been reading it for 40 years. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Yep. So I haven't, so I got to get there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I have a mentor like that. You could be talking about something biblical, theology wise, and he'll say, well, that's not the case because it says this here. Like, whoa, how did you pull that out?
Yeah. It really is. It's just the more you read it, then the more you remember where stuff is. So, but
absolutely.
Yeah, man. What you been doing?
Good.
Woodworking?
Yes, no. Not really. My shop is still clean, and so I have to get in there and start doing some stuff. I want to make some Christmas gifts and stuff, and I have been running my laser, so I have this 1/8-inch plywood, and I'll cut out these ornaments, and then my wife will glue glass to them, and it's a cool looking, kind of the wood and the glass look. And so I've been cutting those out for her. She designed herself a bunch of them for me, and it was for her because she's going to sell them at her craft fairs. But I was been cutting them out. The other night we have a show that we watch together, and she's like, "Hey, I got stuff to do until 9:30. At 9:30, you want to watch an episode?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll get the laser engraver going and cut some stuff out." Well, I got it going, and I've got pretty good setup that I can, once I get it going, I can leave it and come back when it's done. Well, I had it running, and part of the issue is I have they're 300 by 300 millimeter, which is like 10 by 10 or 11 by 11 sheets. And the laser honeycomb bed that I got was smaller than what I should have gotten when I ordered one. And so it doesn't fit in it. It fits on top of it. The plywood fits on top of it. It doesn't actually fit in and on it. And so the laser engraver has a gantry head, and then there's cables. There's like a cable trough, or not trough, but like whatever. Well, when it's going and it's on the other side of the thing, the cable comes over, and I didn't realize it, but it had pushed that plywood over, and because I didn't fasten it down, and it made all the stuff all wonky looking. It cut out all these ornaments in like oblong shapes because it kept moving it as it was cutting it, because the cables were pushing the thing over. Yeah. So I've got to get out there and finish cutting those out for her at some point. I got to make some Christmas gifts and whatnot. A lot going on. So it's been tough working a lot, and just been busy. But I do have projects I have to start working on here at some point. How about you? Have you been out there making any sawdust?
I've been making a bunch of dust, and a little of it sawdust. So my wife and daughter, my wife's mom somehow fell and tore her rotator cuff or something, did something to her shoulder. Basically, she's got to have surgery. And so my wife and daughter rode down to Arizona to help her for a few days over Thanksgiving. And I stayed home to take care of the animals. And so I got out in the shop, and long story short, we have a mezzanine in our shop up above my office where I store stuff. And I've been climbing up there to put stuff via a ladder, not safe, and been wanting to build a stairwell for a long time. But the space that I wanted to do some electrical work in the wall. So I got a harebrained idea. I called my buddy from church, that's an electrician, and I said, any chance you come over this weekend and do the wiring if I get everything, cut out and ready. So I cut out all the sheetrock all the way down the wall, got everything ready, and he came over and just tapped the wire into the box for me. I just don't feel comfortable going in the panel. I want to make sure it's right and don't want to set my house on fire. And then I put the sheetrock back, mudded, sanded, all that, and then got the lumber. And, typically, like, I've built stairs before, like when I'm making a deck or something like that. But typically, I think the most steps, maybe 5 off of a deck that I've ever done. Well, and typically the way you do it, you just measure your height off the ground, figure out how many steps you need to be in that 7 to 8 inch range, make it, boom, easy. Well, this one, because of where the electrical panel is on this wall and because of where an electrical outlet is, I needed the stringer to fall in a certain place. So I couldn't just say, here's my height and I want to see how many steps and boom, lay it out that way. I needed it to fall at an exact angle versus being able to do my, go off of the height, the run and the rise and all. It's so, dude, the math on trying to figure this out just made my head hurt. But I finally figured it out and got it done. I needed to have 13 steps in order to make it, and then be at a certain height in order to get that stringer to run right in that gap between the outlet and the where the panel is. So I've been making stair stringers, and so I hope to finish that up tomorrow, and then I won't have to climb a ladder up to my mezzanine anymore. I can actually just carry a box up like a normal person, and it'll be nice. So, yeah.
Now, are you using 2x10s for your stringers or
2x12s?
Are you 2x12s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So 2x10s wouldn't work.
So you said that's 13 steps. So that's a full 8 foot 8 foot.
It's a
ceiling or
100, and because I'm going to the top of the mezzanine, there's a, below is an 8 foot ceiling, but then you've got the joist and all on top of that. So it's actually with the flooring up on top of the mezzanine. I think it was 109.25 inches, if I remember the number right.
Okay.
And so yeah, man, the math, it was just, you wouldn't believe it. And once I figured it out, it was so simple. It was just because it wasn't the way I normally would do it if I were making a stairwell. Because normally you would just say, well, here's how long my run is, or this is how tall my rise is, and you can figure it all out that way really fast and quick. But because I needed that oddball angle, and it hurt my brain. And then after anyway, because what I did is I shot my laser. How I ended up doing it was I put my laser on where I needed it to start at the top and then shoot. That got me through that area. And then I could establish what my run was going to be.
Right.
But until I did that, I kept trying to mathematically do it all. And I was like, that's not going to work. I'm going to end up right here. And then, anyway, sometimes it just.
So are you building flat, or is it going to go out from the mezzanine, or is it going to go up alongside of it? Your stairs.
It's going to go right upside the wall, straight up to the mezzanine. So
not against the mezzanine, but you're going to walk up towards the mezzanine.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. I was just curious if you were going to have a landing at the top or something, but if you're going right up to it, then
Yeah. It's just like when you pull in our garage, we have a 3-car garage. And so the wall over on the left of the first bay, the stairwell would just go up beside the wall, and then you be up there. It's just storage up there is all it is. There's
Right.
nothing. Our heat and air system's up there and our hot water heater and all. But
Yep.
just
But it's not the hot water heater. The water's already hot, so it's a water heater.
yeah, correct.
My father-in-law corrects me on that all the time. I say, yeah, the hot water heater. No, it's not heating hot water.
Good point.
I was like,
The cold
first time he
water
said it to me,
heater.
I was like, what are you talking about? The cold water heater. Yeah. That's cool. So when you built that mezzanine, then you built it structurally. I mean, it's got 2x8 joists up there or something.
Oh no, 2x10s up there.
Oh, you put 2x10s. Yeah.
Yep. And
Nice.
because it had to support the heat and air system and the
water
all the
heater.
stuff. Well, the water heater's tankless, so it doesn't hold any water. It's not heavy. It's mounted on the wall, but all the other stuff that we were going to store, I wanted to make sure it was stout.
Do you like the tankless?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
They are expensive, but they by far pay for themselves.
Right.
Dude, it saves you so much money. And the greatest part of it is my wife thinks that a shower should last from now until the day Jesus comes back. Like she would stay in the
I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing.
like, and I'm not saying that I'm a pretty quick shower compared to
right.
most people. But I get in there. I don't have no hair, so I don't have to wash my hair. So I save some time. But when you got my wife and my daughter likes to take a long shower, and they were in there forever. And I go to get in it, cold water. I was like, no.
Right.
And my brother had one of the tankless, and my wife's sister had one of the tankless. And I was just like, when our water heater goes out, that's what we're getting. And then back in North Carolina, our water heater went out, and I was like, that's it. We're done with them. We're switching. And
yeah.
Dude, that's the best thing. So when we built this house, it's like tankless water heater, man. It's the only way to go, dude. It's the only way
I've
to go.
experienced a couple of them. My in-laws have a tankless water heater, and it'll about burn your skin off.
Oh, well, I mean, you can set the temperature on it. I mean, you can make it boil water, or you can, crank it down. But
now theirs is interesting. So their house has a basement. It's an old farmhouse. But then he built a large addition off of it, which is the new kitchen and dining room and entryway and stuff. Beautiful addition. When they did that, they put the radiant heat in the floors. And so the thing that the boiler that heats the radiant heat is also what heats the hot water for the house. It's a double system.
Oh, so then they don't have a tankless. They have a boiler system.
Yeah, but it's the way it's set up for that. It is tankless. It's like this big tankless thing,
right? But the boiler's heating the water. That's what you're saying.
I guess I think so. Yeah, I think that's how it works.
Yeah, that's different. What we have is just the little box that's run by natural gas, and then when you open a valve, it kicks on and starts heating the water. And how it heats it that fast, I don't know, but it works, man, and it's great. So my wife.
Now we have an interesting system here. If there's any HVAC guys out there, tell me if this is a good system. So it's a Lochinvar boiler that heats an air handler. And that's what heats our house. It's a propane industrial boiler that takes the hot water, puts it through coils, and heats the air handler that we have forced air. It's a weird system, but it's super efficient. And it heats the house fantastically. But when we moved in the house and we needed a new water tank, a water heater, and we had two options: go normal, just 60-gallon tank or whatever it is, or connect to that boiler and have that boiler heat our hot water as well as through the house. And just because we weren't sure if we're going to keep the boiler down the road, we may end up going to a heat pump at some point to be able to have air conditioning and stuff. We decided not to go that route, but yeah, it is an option that I could have done, I guess. Kind of an interesting system.
Yeah, I tell you, propane, natural gas, or when it comes to heating, just do a better job than electricity.
Right.
And,
yeah, I could say our last two houses were heat pump, electric, and average both houses. We had a 1,400 square foot house, and then we had a 2,600 square foot house. Our last house, we averaged about $150 to $160 a month electric. I mean, it really wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And we kept it 70 year round, 70 in the winter, 70 in the summer.
Yeah.
And it did fine.
I think it really depends on, because you were in Tennessee then, the weather.
Well, it's true.
I just don't think, like in super cold temperatures, that electricity is the way to go. I'm gonna tell you, we have a wood stove, and that's my favorite, man. I love a fire, and I get a fire going in there, dude. It will roast you out. It heats our whole house. Our heat pump never comes on in the winter, never.
Well, we have a fireplace, and it's got an insert in it, but I need the fireplace inspected, and I haven't done that since we moved in. So we don't use the fireplace, but I would love to, because one, it would help bring the cost of heat down.
Yeah.
And two, it'd be awesome in the wintertime. Like right now, man, it's 20 degrees out, dude, to have a fire going. And
yeah, you're crazy, man. You need to get that thing inspected.
Yeah,
there's nothing like sitting around a fire in the wintertime, man. There's just nothing like that.
That just means that I gotta cut firewood, and I just more time and more.
Yeah. So I mean, I do cut and split some, but like when we first moved here, I just called up a guy that does that for a living, had him drop me off 3 cords, and
Yep.
But it's I love a fire.
It all goes back to, oh well, let me add this in. Our house has 2 heating systems. One is a wood burner out back. We have a big wood burner out back that was connected. So we have, what's the things along the floorboard?
Mm-hmm. So it's probably like a boiler system out, like a wood burner, yep, and then that heats the water that goes through the flooring or something.
Yep. So, what had happened was is when we bought this house, I had a plumber come out to put in a new water heater because there wasn't one in the house. Like, what the heck? Well, come to find out, the old guy used the wood burner year round to heat the hot water for the house.
Huh.
So year round, 24/7, he was burning wood to heat the water in his house. And yeah, he was a cheap old guy, I guess. I don't know. But we actually had to disconnect that under the house to put in a normal water heater. And so that's not even connected anymore, but it's there. But here's my plan. We plan on the next 2 years to build a big 40 by 60 shop. I'm going to put radiant floor heating in, and I'm going to move that over there to heat the shop with that. Oh, so that's my plan. Nice. That's why I haven't done anything. Yeah. So, because in Pennsylvania, man, Northwestern Pennsylvania, you can't have a not heated shop. I mean, it's just cold. That concrete gets so cold, man. And you're in Colorado. It gets cold out there.
2 natural gas heaters in my shop. My shop's 60 degrees right now.
Nice. Yeah. So, but awesome, man. Yeah, I need to get in the shop and start making some sawdust. I haven't built a woodworking project in a minute, and it's just time.
Yeah.
2 kids. I'm working a lot. My responsibilities at work are going to be going up next year as my boss retires and I take over, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. It's just church, and my wife has craft fairs. It's just like, man, one thing, holidays, and just like, yeah, I try to sneak a date night in with my wife every once in a while if I can, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just been crazy, but hope to get back out there and make something. I got some ideas for some Christmas gifts for some people. So last year I made all my nephews, and I made them for my kids too. I took pieces of cherry, just like 2.5 inches thick by like 7 inches long, and engraved their name in it. And then I put hooks on it, and they can hang it like on the door of their bedroom and stuff like that. So I've got to think of something like that I can do again. I like making stuff for everybody instead of buying stuff. So
I got a bunch of gifts to get made. It's just a matter of having time to get in the shop. And I spent 2 days in Telluride working, and 1 week I was up in Telluride the other week, and then I just put a bid in on a job that I'm pretty sure I'll get it. I'll end up in Moab 3 different times I've done work for this company before. And so, man, it's like trying to find time to get in the shop and actually make stuff. But Christmas is going to be here in a matter of 3 weeks. So, yeah, I'm gonna have some late.
Yeah, it's coming fast, man. It's coming fast. So awesome, very good, man. Well, I'm going to got some laundry to put away. You know, just that housekeeping items, and gonna get a shower and read some word and go to bed. So
cool deal.
We'll talk to you later. Thanks everybody. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day or evening, whatever time it is you're listening. And until next week, I'm Will from Fly Woodworks.
And I'm Tom from Mountain Valley Maker.